Okay, so I've got about half of the blueberries done. Let me see. Here we go. There's one of the tiny little star blocks. Two, they're not too bad. I haven't squared them up, so I don't know like exactly how off they are. I'm sure they're off a little bit. They always are. And that's okay. But not too terrible at all. I think there was one, like these are lining up pretty good on the points right here. I do think there was one that was like a little, yeah, I think it's this one, which one out of all of those, so you can see this little guy, his little square is not quite on point. But I mean, over here it was, so I don't know if there was just a little bit of biasness to it, or I should have sewn it, but it's such a tiny block. I'm not gonna, certainly not unpicking this tiny block. I always find it so difficult to work with such small blocks. And, you know, I use the Best Press mixed in here with some water and starch all of these, which certainly helps it to be, whoa, it fell over. It's okay. Which certainly helps it to be more, keep its shape better. But I just think sewing with such small little pieces is really, really difficult for me. So I've got half of them done now. So I have to do the other half of this with this like denim color. I love this color, this denim color. I think a shirt, you know, a darker shirt like this would be really pretty in this denim color. Maybe I'm just attracted to blues. I don't know. I've got a lot of blue going on here. You could do like a patch. Okay, starting to lose it here. All right, we're gonna keep working on this and see how far we can get, okay, guys? Okay, so I have made 6 more of these. I mean, they are really beautiful blocks, but oh my gosh. I'm getting really tired of working with such teeny tiny little pieces. It's just a lot of it's just a lot. The other thing is I got a little bit confused on how many stars I actually needed. I don't know why, but this block, and I think it's because it's actually a set, like 3 different blocks that are considered this month's block, right? So there's 3 different ones, each having differing blueberries in there, and that's been a little bit confusing to me because the directions are not super clear and like make X number of these, make X number of these, just go. So I had to do a lot of reading in this instant and looking at the pictures to like kind of figure out what I need to do, because sometimes with Elizabeth Hartman's quilt diagrams and everything, it's just easier for me to look at the picture than it is to read, you know, so FGBC together to make this size block cut down. You know, there's just a lot of wording in there that you know, it's almost like quilting legal wording. And that was just a little bit much for me. But in this instance, it's also been a little bit more difficult because they're separate blocks. And whenever I'm looking at the pattern directions, I don't know, it just messed with me. So I definitely at the end of this will let you know, but I think I think I've got to do 6 or 8 more blocks of these. And that's a lot of little blocks. So I'm not really looking necessarily forward to that. I think it's good that this was the last block. I don't know if it's just because I know that we're nearing the end of that quilt, you know, and I feel like sometimes when I get near the end of a quilt, I get kind of antsy, like I feel like it should be done, and then it's just not done and I have so much more time. I think I've mentioned this before. So I don't know if that is what's happening to me, or if it's just that this block is taking me forever because there's all of these tiny little blocks to sew, and that's not my favorite thing to do. I'm also multitasking on another quilt project because I'm using the embroidery machine, and so I'm kind of going back and forth between those projects, which may be lengthening it out a little bit more, but I feel like it's giving me a mental break from sewing tiny little bitty pieces. So I think I'm just gonna pause for tonight and come back and keep working on these blueberries. It's just, yeah, there are a lot of little pieces here. So we're gonna take a break. Okay, everybody, so I feel like this has taken me forever to complete, but I have all of the star blocks done. So happy to be done with this. I am going to now, I have to in order to make the blueberries, I'm going to put the little corner pieces on them. So I've got a lot of those to do, and unfortunately, I was a little bit confused about when I first was looking at the cutting directions, and so I thought I was only going to need this many, but I'm definitely going to have to cut way more in order to complete all of these, because obviously, yeah, there's a lot more stars here. But they did come out pretty good. Not all of them are perfect, but they're so little, they're just gonna look really cool on the quilt. I think they're gonna give it a nice vibe. So let's go ahead and get to doing this. All right, everybody, so I have finally got them done. I just finished ironing these guys right here. So this was the last block that I did. I love the offset nature of these blueberries. Like they're just like you just sprinkled them down. They're just falling down. I love that. We've got our single little blueberry here with a big border background patch here, so that's nice. And then we've got another offset group here. And I know that these look a little weird on the side, but once you connect to whatever's going to go next to these, then that will obviously fix it and it won't look like the blueberry is trying to blow something out. I don't know. Like, really happy to have finished these. So happy to have finished these. They just, honestly, for the last block of the Elizabeth Hartman quilt, I mean, what a finish. All of these tiny fiddly bits, the most fiddliest thing that we've done in all of this quilt, and they saved it for the very last, which I don't know if it was a blessing or just a rough way to end the quilt, but super happy with how they came out. So excited that in the next few videos we're going to be taking this quilt from all of the pieces and the individual blocks of produce into the big quilt and laying that out. I suspect there will be some sort of pattern that I'm going to have to follow to get everything laid out in its right direction, which, well, that is quilting, I suppose, right? So, as always, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this last block of the produce section. And if you're wondering, if you're wanting to follow along, or you're really interested in this, or maybe you just want to do something fun, different, and out of the norm of your quilting, then I would definitely check out Elizabeth Hartman's Produce Section quilt. Super fun, even more excited to get to a point of quilting it and coming up with some really fun ideas. Obviously on this one, they just did sort of, it's hard to see on camera, but they just did sort of line drawings. Definitely don't want to do that personally, because that means, well, it's just, you got to keep those lines really spot on, and that is not for me. So probably going to be doing a little bit more free motion stuff, but that's what I like to do, so that doesn't make, it's not a surprise there. As always, guys, I hope that y'all have enjoyed it. Remember to like and subscribe, all of those YouTube things. Don't forget to comment down below, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks.